NCTV45, The Train, anytime on your time.
This program was provided through funding from Cedars Restaurant in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. A special thanks to Cedars, featuring Middle Eastern, Italian, and American cuisine.
Welcome to the Cedars Sports Corner, everybody. I'm Alex Laverson, and I'm flying.
Hello up there!
Yes, our producer isn't joining me. He's joining us, but he's going to be working the computer behind the desk, so he gets to torment me that way. So he's not going to be tormenting me right to my face, which is, a plus for me, but a negative for him. But Angela, NFL draft, Steelers. I'm pleased. I am quite pleased with the way the draft went. I'm also shocked because the Steelers obviously had a glaring need at inside linebacker, and that required a normally traditional franchise to get aggressive. They moved up 10 spots to get Devin Bush, linebacker from Michigan. That's unlike the Steelers.
Very, very fast.
Oh, he's very fast. At 234 pounds, he runs a 4.4. He's very instinctive, and he's very aggressive and intelligent, too. And I know a lot of people wanted a corner, but the Steelers did get a corner in the third round. But how do you feel about the Devin Bush pick? And how do you feel about the Steelers actually trading up to get him?
I think it's tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
He can be an immediate force.
And that's the key. They wanted someone that could play immediately.
So I'm looking, and the game will be Mack Wilson versus Devin Bush.
Okay.
Mack Wilson. Do you know who Mack Wilson is?
No.
The inside linebacker drafted from Alabama to the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, I thought you were talking about someone else on the Steelers roster. I was like, what are you talking about?
No, it's a matchup. It's...
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the Steelers got a lot faster on defense. I think the Browns would have loved to have Devin Bush over Mack Wilson, in my opinion. But obviously things didn't turn out that way. How do you feel about the Steelers' not second round picks, but their two picks of the third round? They drafted Justin Lane, cornerback from Michigan State, and I'm still having trouble. I think you pronounce his name Deontay Johnson, right? Wide receiver from Toledo.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are saying that Deontay Johnson, wide receiver, might have been a little bit of a reach, might have been a little bit of a desperation move to kind of replace Antonio Brown. But how do you feel about those two picks? Justin Lane, corner from Michigan State, and Deontay Johnson, wide receiver from Toledo.
Well, it's like saying that the kid that gets high honor, it was a stretch, and he got a 99 on the test, and you're just going to, persecute him. The drafts by the Steelers have been stellar.
They're good at developing wideouts.
Okay, so I'm not ready to throw them onto the bus because they went to Toledo. I'm like, okay, so you went to Toledo. Okay, they've done things like that before.
Well, great players come out of the MAC and those smaller schools all the time. Was it Antonio Brown was Central Michigan, if I'm correct. So I mean, I like the pick. He might not be the fastest wide receiver they could get, but he's a great possession receiver. He's good at running routes, and he's very intelligent. So he's a good pass catcher. You know, and he can make people miss an open space. To me, that sounds a lot like Antonio Brown. I really feel like they're trying to really just kind of, as Mike Tomlin would say, get a cleansing going in Pittsburgh, cleanse themselves from the whole Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell era, and just replace and get ready to move on. And I think they're doing a good job of that. Now, this cornerback from Michigan State, they got a big physical outside corner, you know, and he could develop outside, you know, veteran Joe Hayden, and their newly acquired Steven Nelson. You know, many projected Lane to go in the second round because of his frame. So the Steelers, you know, in a way they got a second round pick, even though a second round value pick, I should say. So I thought that was another good value selection in the third round. So, you know, you got some young talent coming in, you know, Justin Lane and inside linebacker Devin Bush. I feel like they got some young talent at the defensive end of the ball that they could contribute to. But let's take a break and we'll get more into these draft picks in the second segment. How about that?
This program furnished by the MAD Unit, Mobile Auto Detailing. See Michael Sad at themadunit.com. Holy snowman, it's the Turf Bar, home of great sandwiches, appetizers, tacos, you name it, they have it at the Turf Bar. It's just the right food. You'll enjoy those special drinks. They're there too. And get that nice cold beverage, relax, enjoy the Turf Bar. If you ain't there, you should be. Hello, friends. Pinella Brothers, 1701 Hamilton Street, provided funding for this program. Great food and drink, Pinella Brothers.
Welcome back, everybody, to our second segment of the Cedars Sports Corner. And Angelo, we're going to go and discuss the Steelers round 4 selection, number 122 overall, running back Benny Snell Jr., running back from Kentucky. Now, this is an interesting pick, and a lot of people don't know this, is that from a lot of reading and research, a lot of the insiders have done on him, he's actually kind of a cocky dude. Now, I'm hoping he's not like Le'Veon Bell level cocky. Maybe I'm hoping the word is confident, but he's like the prototypical Steelers back. You know what I mean? Hard-nosed between the tackle and runner. I know some people were wanting maybe a different change of pace back. You know, maybe a small, shifty, fast third down back. But, you know, honestly, I like the pick. And a lot of people also don't know this too, but his great uncle, Matt Snell, rushed for 121 yards and a touchdown in the Jets' Super Bowl III upset of the Colts. His father, Benny Sr., spent time with the Ravens and played in the XFL of all things. And Benny Snell Jr. actually left Kentucky as the school's all-time leading rusher, despite having kind of average speed, running a 4.7. So, Andrew, are you happy with this pick, or do you kind of wish the Steelers would have gotten a different change of pace back?
As long as he doesn't fumble, it's fine with me.
So you're kind of happy on the conservative, grinded outside, let's not create any turnovers. You're okay with this conservative type of pick, then?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Connor and Snell, you know, a good combo there. Again, I feel like this is another, you know, value pick. Obviously, that's good. He's going to get another immediate playing time pick. I'm not saying he's getting all the second carries behind Connor, but this is someone that's going to be contributing immediately. And that's kind of the theme I've seen so far with these picks, is that these players are contributing immediately.
I have to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
Youngstown State has announced that their opening season game will be with the Duquesne Dukes
Oh, there you go.
at the ice house, right 20 miles away from us.
Oh, there you go. So that's.
And
Mhm.
with Duquesne's making it to, and they lost 33-0 to South Dakota State. What are you thinking? How did the Dukes fare as down there upping their football schedule?
That's still, to them, that would be the equivalent of a Youngstown State going up to play a Power 5 school, right? So if Duke A could get a win over YSU, that would do pretty good for the program. Now, of course, you don't say often if so-and-so could get a win over YSU, that do great things for the program, but anytime you're winning upwards, you're playing an opponent that's in a higher standing conference, that does great things for your school.
Here's the scary part. And this is really something. They're going to go at YSU, at Dayton, and Dayton's a big rivalry no matter what. And then they're going to go at New Hampshire. So they're almost away the whole month of September. Matter of fact, they're going to go at UMass in their very first, no, wait.
So that's 4 games that they're on the road for?
Yeah.
Really?
They're going to play those first 4 games out and up there. Now, if they come back, what do you consider good? A split? 1 and 3?
A split would be okay. Now, if you could get 3 wins, boom, that's great. Obviously, 4 would be amazing. So, if you get at least 2, I'll be like, okay, boom, we could work with that. That's a success in its own way.
So 3 wins and everything else being equal, they should be in the playoffs.
I mean, that's just so hard to do, though. I mean, I haven't heard of a football team starting the first 4 games on the road. So, I mean, you have to be a very good football team, especially if you get 3 out of 4 games on the road. Even if your opponents aren't the toughest, that's still 4 games on the road. That is such a mental change of pace. That is so different and, hard to accomplish. So if Duquesne was to get 2 or 3 wins out of there, then, hey, more power to the Dukes. It'd be a pretty solid team. You have to be, in my opinion.
I just, as I was looking at that, I'm in total amazement because that's a heck of a thing. Just felt I had to say something about the Duquesne football Dukes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to play Welsh before they play. So it's going to be Welsh, and they're in Canton, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's another Catholic school. Then they're going to go YSU, at Dayton, at New Hampshire, and then they're going to go Long Island University.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to come back and play Sacred Heart, Wagner, St. Francis. They're going to go to Bobby Moe and Bryant, and then they're going to end the season with Central Connecticut State, which is an ambitious schedule, which says if the Dukes are able to come up 10-1, okay, they should be in. Because they got, I feel they got blown off during basketball season.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you felt like they didn't get enough respect. Again, listen, I feel like I said the March Madness thing. I feel like that's just such a hard tournament to get into. You know more about Duquesne football and that conference than I do. But let's say, like you said, they go 10-1. I don't know how you exclude a 10-1 team from any type of playoff system. Yeah, unless they're BCS. But if if you had to choose, Angelo, between Duquesne Dukes winning a national title and Notre Dame winning a national title, who would you go with?
Oh, that is such a political question.
That's like choosing who your favorite kid is.
I never thought you'd pull that one out on me.
Well, I mean, I figured why not? I'm here talking about the Duquesne Dukes of all things. I'm looking at your desk over there, all this Notre Dame apparel and stuff. And I'm like,
you know what? I would have to call the Vatican. Because that would like me saying, you favor St. Peter or St. Paul. Now, I just happened to be looking at the schedule for the Panthers.
Should we take a break before we get into that, you think?
You know what? Yeah, we better.
So what we'll do, we'll take a break here. We'll get into the Panthers schedule, and then I do want to go over just the last few picks for the Steelers real quick, and then, that should be a wrap, and now a word from our sponsors.
Today's programming is brought to you by NCTV45 and NC Radio 450, Newcastle's community television station. This program furnished by Sporting Goods, 23 East Washington Street, Newcastle. Call 724-658-2535. These fine businesses provided funding for this program. Gatherings, Town and Country, and On Target.
Hello.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Cedars Sports Corner for our third and final segment.
Now, I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
and see, this is what kills me, and I got to bring this up because it just really gets me when I see things like this, and I just happened in on it, and oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
The Penn State football schedule compared to the Pitt football schedule.
Okay.
Now, Pitt's going to open up, or Penn State's going to open up with Idaho. Okay. Pitt's going to open up with Virginia. Advantage, Pittsburgh. It's a tougher team. Then they're going to play Buffalo, Penn State. Pitt's going to play Ohio. It's a draw.
Max school, yeah.
Then they play each other. Then Friday night, Penn State takes on Maryland at College Park, and Pitt takes on University of Central Florida.
Oh.
Advantage, Pitt.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I mean, and Pitt doesn't get credit, and I'm not even a Pitt fan, but geez, oh man, they should get credit for a tougher schedule.
Well, there's a lot of fans at Sports Analysis who even think Pitt has overscheduled the past few years because a lot of them think they overschedule. They try and fill, their home games with teams that draw big because Pitt doesn't have, Heinz Field's too big for Pitt, obviously, for the most part, unless they play like a Notre Dame or West Virginia or Penn State. So, I always feel like if Pitt ever played a schedule like Penn State or even a normal school schedule, they'd have a few more wins each year. They'd be averaging, 8 to 9 wins every year. They'd be like, all right, for Pitt, that's pretty good. Now Penn State, you're averaging, 6 cupcakes a year?
Oh, jeez.
You know?
You've got the first two are cupcakes. Then they play Pitt. And how tough has Maryland ever been?
I didn't even still think of them as a Big Ten school. I always view them as an ACC school.
And yeah, and then you've got Purdue, Iowa, Michigan. Michigan State, which those two Michigan teams back-to-back may be their toughest deal.
Mm-hmm.
Then they play Minnesota, Indiana, which is a wash. Ohio State, and they end with Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm just saying that seems like, an easy schedule to me. You've got the first two and the last one's a win. Indiana will give you a good game. Minnesota won't.
If Penn State still is, I feel like, outclassed by Ohio State in the Big Ten. I feel like there's Ohio State and then there's the rest of the Big Ten. Yeah, I mean.
Well, I think Michigan, if they ever get themselves back together, can compete.
Well, I mean, just overall, I mean, yeah, you're going to have one school here and there, that'll override Ohio State in 1 year, but it's just.
Of the Big Ten is definitely, and not in any order, Ohio State, Michigan, and then you've got a whole next tier, which is Wisconsin, Nebraska, maybe a Penn State and Iowa.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know, I definitely feel that way, especially Ohio State. Ohio State's brand has just been so good the past couple decades.
Well, they're without a coach now.
That is true.
And if Pitt looks past, if Pitt's able to win their first 3 games, that might set them up for a win over Central Florida at Heinz Field.
Wait, Ohio State has a coach, right? I mean, I know they have a coach.
But it's
like a no-namer, or
yeah.
When you're up against Urban Meyer, you think no-namer. Yeah, I mean, but all right.
Because after Penn State plays Central Florida, it's the Delaware Blue Hens, it's Duke, it's Syracuse, Miami, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, the last one, Virginia Tech and Blacksburg.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be huge.
Mm-hmm. And then this will be the last year, if I'm correct, Penn State play for a while, right?
Yeah.
Or do they play one more time next year?
This is the last year, and then they're going to skip a couple years and come back.
Okay. Well, Pitt won the Coastal with the 7-7 record. I think Narduzzi will be around still another handful of years because he does well winning against ACC teams. His out-of-conference record isn't the best, but it's because they always schedule really hard opponents. James Franklin, man, I don't know what his leash is like over there. He recruits well. I just don't know how long Penn State's gonna be content with the results Franklin gets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But before we end the show, I just want to go over the last few picks of the Steelers. In round 5, the Steelers took Zach Gentry, tight end from Michigan. He's a big monster target, 6'8". But I know he has issues getting off the blocks at the college level, so he's a project. He has a lot of athleticism, but it's going to take some time. And this is from everything I'm reading about him. I didn't know too much about him before the draft. But, they needed to get a tight end. It makes sense. So now with Jesse James gone, the Steelers they needed help, with Vance McDonald and Xavier Grimble. In round 6, they took an outside linebacker from Northern Illinois, Sutton Smith. A lot of people question his size, but again, if you have speed, man, that makes up for it. But he looks like he's gonna be more of a special teams guy, and that's okay. Another round 6 pick, Isaiah Buggs, defensive tackle from Alabama. So they got an Alabama guy. He's 6'3", 306 pounds. He has a good base, and he's stronger on the lower half of his body. That should help him in the middle of the defensive line. Again, usually with this late of a pick, you can tell it'll be a project, and that's to be expected. Oh man, another 6th-round pick, Ulysses Gilbert, inside linebacker from Akron. Again, a project. Probably be a special teams player. But hey, man, I'm always rooting for the Akron boys, all those smaller schools around here.
Real quick. In the NBA playoffs, do the Sixers get past Toronto?
I hope not. I hate Philadelphia. All Philadelphia teams hate them.
Then Boston, do they get past Milwaukee?
Do the Sixers get past Milwaukee?
Boston.
Does Boston get past Milwaukee? I know you hope they do. Look, man, I don't know enough about the NBA to give like a hard analysis.
I was setting up a Boston 76er
I'd root for Boston.
in the East.
I'd root for Boston.
And looking at the West, Golden State versus Portland.
I hope not. I hope it's not Golden State. I'm so tired of Golden State.
Looks like Boston could be playing for the championship.
It could be. Anyone, even though I hate Philadelphia, anyone but Golden State.
As long as they're wearing green, go Irish.
Go Irish. And right before we had the show, last pick for the Steelers, Darren Gray, offensive tackle from Maryland. He's good size at 6'4", 320 pounds. Looks like he'll end up at guard for the Steelers. But it's most likely he's going to be a swing player for their offensive line. He also is going to be another projected to be a backup special teams contributor as a rookie if he makes the 46-man roster. Overall, I give the draft an A for the Steelers, and that'll wrap it up. Any other words, Angela? All right. You all have a good one.
A special thanks to the YMCA for caring about the Lawrence County community and providing funding for this program.